the President directed the United States military to build a temporary pier in Gaza to enable us to help surge humanitarian assistance to those who so desperately need it. A short while ago, I did a video conference with colleagues from Cyprus, from the United Kingdom, the UAE, Qatar, the European Union, and the United Nations to coordinate our efforts in getting this maritime corridor up and running. We're also, of course, working with Israel on this. When established, this corridor will enable the distribution of up to 2 million meals every single day, as well as medicine, water, and other critical humanitarian supplies. Germany, Greece, Italy, the Netherlands, Canada are also supporting this effort. Now, this is something that's going to take time to actually put in place, although we're working on it as expeditiously as possible. And I want to emphasize, it is a complement to, not a substitute for, other ways of getting humanitarian assistance into Gaza. And in particular, overland routes remain the most critical way to get assistance in and then to people who need it. But this will help close the gap, and it's part of our all-of-the-above strategy to make sure that we're doing everything possible, by every means possible, to surge support to those who need it, by land, by sea, by air. As you know, the United States has been leading efforts from the very beginning to try to ensure that assistance gets to those who need it. We've had significant ups and downs, periods of interruption, disruption, and having said that, we're also seeing right now humanitarian assistance through Rafah and through Kerem Shalom getting back to levels that we'd gotten it to some weeks ago, about 200 trucks a day. Yesterday, for the first time, the World Food Program was able to resume aid delivery to Gaza. Morocco made its first humanitarian assistance delivery through Kerem Shalom. This week, the first shipments to North Gaza through a new crossing at the 96th gate began. We have flour that flowed from Ashdod port. We're working to make sure that inspections are accelerated and road repairs move forward so that we can also increase the flow that's going from Jordan into Gaza. That's a critical route for supplies. So there's movement, and it's positive, but it remains insufficient. Israel still needs to open as many access points as possible and keep them open to make sure that things are flowing in a sustainable way. Increase the scanning capacity, the inspection capacity, particularly at Kerem Shalom, where more can be done to get more aid in more quickly. Easing unnecessary restrictions on key products, having greater clarity and predictability on what can get in and what can't. There's a legitimate issue here about dual-use items, but we need to see much greater clarity, much greater consistency on what these are. And of course, as we've said all along, while it's vital to make sure that things are getting into Gaza, once they're in, they have to get to the people who need them. And so distribution within Gaza remains a critical function. There, improving communication, improving deconfliction with humanitarians, particularly with the United Nations, with local community leaders, remains important work and work that is still in progress. The bottom line is we need to see, as we've described it, we need to see flooding the zone when it comes to humanitarian assistance for Gaza. This will have a number of, I think, important merits to it. First and foremost, it will bring comfort to people who so desperately need it. But beyond that, one of the challenges that we have now, and that you're seeing now, is that lawlessness, insecurity, all of that pervades in Gaza, combined with desperation. When you put those things together, you have situations where aid goes in, and then people immediately charge at the trucks, and you see looting, you see criminal gangs get in the act, and again, just ordinary civilians who, in the absence of sufficient aid, may believe that their only chance to get a piece of bread is to go at the one truck that they see coming in. When you have a sustainable, predictable, confident supply of assistance going in, that will give people confidence that food is there, it'll keep coming, they can rely on it. That will also decrease both the overall insecurity, sense of lawlessness, Prices will come down for goods that are being looted and then sold on the black market, and that'll undercut the gangs that are engaged in that practice. Having said all of that, even as we work to surge humanitarian assistance by every means necessary, the most effective way to really get that done is with a ceasefire and having an environment much more conducive to getting the aid through. There's a very strong proposal on the table right now. The question is, will Hamas take it? Does Hamas want to end the suffering that it's provoked? The question is there, but I can tell you that we're intensely engaged every single day, almost every single hour, with Qatar, with Egypt, to see if we can get a ceasefire agreement that will get the hostages out, get more aid in, and create a pathway perhaps for a more lasting, secure solution. Hostages remain front and center on our minds and in our hearts. We just learned that one of the dual U.S.-Israeli citizens who we believed was taken on October 7th, Itai Hen, was in fact killed on October 7th. I'd met with his family multiple times over the last several months. I spoke to them yesterday, to Ruby, to Hagit. There are no good words. No one should have to go through what they've gone through and what the other hostage families continue to go through. It's another reason why getting the ceasefire would be so crucial to enable us to bring the hostages home. The President has made clear that ensuring the supply of humanitarian assistance, doing everything possible to protect civilians, has to be a priority. It can't be a secondary consideration. So, to that end, I would simply say, where there's a will, there's a way. We look to the government of Israel to make sure that this is a priority. Protecting civilians, getting people the assistance they need. That has to be job number one, even as they do what is necessary to defend the country and to deal with the threat posed by Hamas.